Hello and welcome to HDFC Mutual Fund's Laxmi for Laxmi initiative, a financial empowerment program for women and by women. Here, women distributors share the unique behavior of women investors and the hurdles they overcome in their financial journeys. Join us as we empower each other in the world of mutual fund investments. Hello and welcome to Laxmi for Laxmi by HDFC Mutual Fund. This is Larissa Fernand, and today I will be talking to Vinita Idnani. Vinita has over 2 decades of experience in wealth management and banking, and in 2020 was listed amongst India's top 100 women in finance by the Association of International Wealth Management of India. Vinita, it's fantastic to have you here. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you, Larissa, for having me here, and thanks to HDFC Mutual Fund for organizing this very important session for women.
Lovely. So, Vinita, your firm Capital League was spearheaded by 3 women, right? And you all are all partners. So, and all of you all are from MNC banks. So, and now years later, I don't know how many years is your firm in operation?
20 years.
So in 20 years, your entire staff is an all-employer, women-centric staff. So can you unpack the rationale and the logic behind it?
Yeah, sure. So, I think our all-women team kind of evolved naturally. As you know, we are 3 partners, we're all women, and it just so happened that the initial team members that we hired, purely based on merit, also happened to be women, and that sort of naturally led to us becoming an all-women team. And we realized that we were functioning exceptionally well together. So women are naturally blessed with certain skill sets and qualities that make them successful wealth managers. Women tend to be empathetic, they are meticulous and methodical, they inspire trust, they're good at interpersonal skills, and all these qualities are essential for wealth management. And also, as an all-women team, we felt we created a very supportive and inspiring platform for all of us. We've all learned from each other. We've inspired each other through each other's accomplishments. We've motivated each other in difficult times. So it kind of became a very empowering environment. And that's why we made that conscious decision to maintain this structure. And now it's been 20 years. And not only have we thrived as a business, but I think Capital League, in a small way, has also become an example of what a group of dedicated and driven women can accomplish together.
Have any of your male clients, when you pitch to clients, so any of your existing clients, have they ever expressed any reservations about it?
So since we started Capital League, we've worked with a very sophisticated and discerning clientele, including CEOs, CXOs, successful entrepreneurs, professionals. And these are clients who have their relationships with multiple banks. They are sought after by the who's who and the biggest brands of the industry. Yet, we've successfully built our business with this sought after high-profile clientele. So I think, we're professionals at work and clients value professionalism. So as long as we can demonstrate that we have the competence and capability to give our clients the best advice and service, it doesn't really matter whether you're a man or a woman or whether you represent a big brand or a small brand. So throughout our journey, we've constantly worked to make our offering strong. So, we can help our clients better. We've built a very strong team of experienced and competent professionals. From the beginning, we wanted to institutionalize everything. So we laid down strong systems and processes. We have very high standards of services. And all these factors, they go a long way in building our clients' confidence in us. And I don't think gender has any role here, and nor has gender any time taken any stance. In fact, let me share a small anecdote with you over here, which will kind of give you a peek in our mindset. Many years ago, we were nominated for this prestigious Financial Advisor Award, and there was this women's category and there was a general category. And being an all-women team, we were kind of advised that if we opt for the women's category, we had higher chances of winning the award. And we thought that, in our day to day work, we are competing with everybody. There is no gender play happening over here. So when it comes to the award, why should gender take place? Or, why should it be like that? And we decided to opt for the general category. And we said, whatever the result will be, it will be. It doesn't really matter. We won the national award that year. So I think that should give you an idea of how we think and how we conduct ourselves, which is what has led to, whatever success that Capital League has received.
Okay, I want to take off from this, what you're talking about. You're talking of gender and capabilities. So there are a lot of women professionals who are extremely capable and adept at their jobs. But while they are good at the workforce, they seem to lack the confidence when it comes to managing their money. Why is this an issue, and has it changed over the years?
So, Larissa, I've been part of this industry for over 30 years. And during this time, I've seen both the industry and the investor behavior evolve significantly. And there has definitely been a noticeable shift in women's attitudes and approaches towards investments. So, till about 15, 20 years back, when we used to interact with even very senior corporate women, they would say, talk to my husband, or let's discuss this with him. And forget the family's investments, even their personal investments were managed by their spouses or their fathers. And mind you, these women were super smart, educated, and successful in their respective careers. But I think for a variety of reasons, be it social conditioning that investments are managed by men, or a general lack of interest, and also in a lot of cases, I've seen a lack of time because women juggle through so many responsibilities. This is one responsibility that men are happily willing to take and women are happy to delegate. But now I see a positive change, and more women are showing interest and getting involved with their investments. In fact, there are some families that we deal with where the women take the front seat to manage the investments for the family. Now it may be a very small percentage, but it's refreshing to have that too. Also, I think in the last decade or so, more wealth has been created, income levels have gone up, and financial literacy and awareness has also increased. So women today are recognizing the importance of investing for wealth creation and long-term financial security, and they are participating more actively in managing their investments.
So how do the men in the family react? Are they happy with it? Do they push them to do it?
Yes, men very supportive. The kind of men that we are interacting with, men are very supportive and encouraging of the women because it's not an issue of capability or anything like that. Women we interact with are educated, intelligent, successful. They've tackled far more complex challenges in their lives, so they know that their women are capable of doing that. It's just that managing finances may not have been an area of interest for them, and it's natural to feel a bit uncertain when starting something new. But with practice, confidence grows. So when they get that support and encouragement from their families, they definitely do well. And there's also been I would say, a generation change. So if you talk about women who are in their 20s, 30s, 40s, there you see a big change. These are the women who are taking charge of their investments. They do joint decisions with their spouses, or they're taking care of themselves. It is a generation that is, let's say, 50 plus or older, where these are the women who may not have participated in this before. But they're also realizing it, that FOMO feeling is coming in over there, particularly when they see, when they have a case when a friend goes through a divorce or a friend loses a spouse. So they realize the criticality of money, finances, of taking part in it. And they want to play an active role in it. And like I said before, men, and in fact, just yesterday I was interacting with this elderly couple client of ours. And the man was, he was saying exactly this thing that, I want my wife to be so involved in it. And, I want that she should be part of the discussions. She should start getting involved because, see, there is this thing that women tend to outlive men, so that as couples get older, there is also this insecurity that seeps in, and men want their wives to be comfortable and confident and take care of things once they're also not there. So, particularly in older men, and that's the generation where the women have missed out on this aspect, they are very encouraging of their women to be a part of this.
So, taking off from that, can you explain how women grapple with these issues when they are suddenly find themselves single, either by divorce or death? How do they? Do you have any examples where the woman has been forced to just take over and manage it emotionally and in actual practical terms?
So, obviously it's an extremely challenging situation to be in, both, like you said, emotionally, financially, especially for women who may not have previously played an active role in managing the money. Most women in this situation may have families to take care of, and that necessitates taking immediate charge of their finances. We've seen cases where the lady has lost her spouse and there is not even enough time to grieve because she needs to take care of all these things and she needs to look after the family. There's certain issues that these women go through right away. First of all, when we do our investments are spread across different asset classes, different products, across different geographical locations. And in many cases, women have no idea about all these things. So some of them may have some idea about, okay, some kind of investments, but they don't have the full picture with them. And just putting that full picture in place, making an assessment of what assets and liabilities are there, that itself becomes a tedious task for women. The other common thing that we've noticed, and that happens to a lot in these situations, whether a woman goes through a divorce or particularly in death cases, is that women tend to get a lot of free advice. Now, it is well meaning, well intentioned advice from concerned family members, friends, but it becomes very confusing and overwhelming for the lady in that situation because most of the times, family of friends, they are not aware of the full picture. So, part knowledge, based on that part knowledge, they're giving that advice. And we've also seen instances where the friend who's advising may be a very different risk profile from the person he's advising to. So, as a result, not only is such advice counterproductive, but it also leads to unnecessary confusion in the whole thing, and the lady ends up being overwhelmed. Which is why it's so important to at least be aware of the family's investments. You don't want to take an active role, fine, fair enough, but at least be aware of what all is there. Be a part of the discussions. Take one step at a time. It helps a great deal, particularly in unfortunate situations like this. Um, yeah.
Do you have any clients who are single and as against those who are married? Is there a difference in the mindset and in the way they approach money?
Yeah. So, our approach and mindset towards our investments depends a lot on our circumstances. And in most cases, single women are the sole breadwinner or the main provider to the household, and they recognize the importance of financial planning way more than married women. They also have more control over the investments, and their involvement and exposure automatically leads to increased comfort and confidence in managing their investments. So, in that respect, single women are way more confident in managing their investments than married women. They may be insecure at times, and the insecurity can sometimes stem from the fact that they are worried whether they have enough because they are the sole providers, and sometimes they're also worried if they're doing a good job managing their money. But if we talk about married women, they may be less insecure when it comes to financials because they know that their husband is managing it for the family, or they may be taking joint decisions with their husbands. But at the same time, they, because they lack the exposure, that often leads to lower self-confidence. So every investor's situation is different. Single women do not have a choice, while married women sometimes have the room to avoid getting involved in their investments. But I think regardless of the marital situation, regardless of whether you have a choice or not, every woman should participate. Rather, don't wait for a time when you have to manage it out of compulsion. Do it when things are good for you, so that you can take your time to get comfortable with it. Unfortunately, a lot of women go through this when there is no choice, and when they are in a situation where they have to manage with this, and that at that point of time they're already dealing with a very difficult situation in their life that they're going in. and just one more thing gets on to their thing.
Do you have any clients where the husband has a different financial advisor and the woman?
Happens that it is, but I think that's a very rare situation that both have different advisors. But yes, there are a few cases that it happens like that. Eventually, I think they kind of merge and move to one advisor.
Got it. Are women more risk averse? You would think so or not?
I think that's a very common misconception that women are risk averse. And I'll share a small example with you for this. So, there is this client of ours who's in her 70s, and she lost her husband many years back. And that's when we began working with her. And prior to that, she'd never paid any attention to her investments. We had frequent meetings with her. We took her through the whole investment thing, simplified everything for her, explained in a, non-jargon way and all that. And she took her time, but, her understanding, her comfort grew. Now, her husband was extremely conservative. So that's how the portfolio was structured. But she, on the other hand, was not so conservative, and she wanted to take more risk. So slowly, steadily, gradually, she increased her equity allocation. She wanted to, this part of her portfolio to grow, and she wanted to leave it behind as a legacy. Her regular income was taken care of. We work with her through various market cycles now, and she's never panicked. She's never made that, scared call that, okay, market has corrected so much, so what's going to happen? And she's a seasoned investor today, and I think she's breaking all stereotypes that, women do not take risks, or as you get older, you need to get more conservative. And she's not the only one. We have so many women investors who have a preference for, and they have the comfort with high risk assets. See, risk taking appetite and ability are highly personal traits that vary from each individual. And we have many male clients who are extremely conservative and shy away from equities, while there, like I said, there are female clients who prefer to invest solely in equities. And also, if I think of volatile periods during market corrections, etc., there are many male clients who get panicky at that time and make those calls to us, while there are many women clients who remain calm and composed. So I would say that women tend to be more risk aware rather than risk averse. They don't shy away from risk, but they do their homework. They understand what they're getting into. They take more informed decisions, and that gives them the confidence to stay through.
Got it. Your women clients, what advice are they giving their children about investing and money and finances?
See, most women clients, as they gain experience from their investments, they recognize the importance of financial planning. They also see the benefits of compounding over the long term. Most of these clients themselves have been late starters to their investment journeys, but seeing the criticality of the whole thing, they definitely want their children, to start their investment sooner than later. They want them to learn through their experience. They slowly want them to build a purpose. They encourage their children to, be disciplined investors. So they, most cases, they would start with SIPs. So they get into the habit of investing. Also, a positive change that we've noticed is that, women give equal opportunities to their sons and daughters. Rather, when it comes to daughters, they don't want their daughters to be left behind or miss out on this. And, they don't just want them to be financially independent, but they want them to be financially literate too. So definitely the experience that women are gaining with their own investments and with all the financial literacy and awareness that is going up is bearing fruit, and it's definitely being passed on to the next generation.
Do you think women are more interested in legacy planning, or do they just want to save, not be dependent on their children?
No one today wants to be dependent on their children, and every family's situation would be different. Every family would have their own goals depending on their life circumstances. So, taking care of their expenses, taking care of their long retired lives is first and foremost most important for them. Because let's face it, our retired lives are also very long, So if somebody retires from a job, or let's say even if there's a couple who retire from their job, They still continue to live for 25, 30 years post retirement, which is a fairly long period of time. And with inflation and expenses going up, it requires a certain amount of corpus, a certain sizable amount of corpus to take them through. So that is definitely a primary objective for people, to ensure that they are self-reliant, self-dependent, and they don't want their, to be dependent on their children. And depending on how much assets each family has, legacy is also important to some. For some, it may not be as important depending on the kind of assets that they have. But every family has different goal sets that they have, and they work towards that. And investments also have to be aligned to them. So it's not that what may work for you may not work for me, and therefore it is a very personal sort of a thing. And which is why we always say that when you're planning your investments, do not get influenced by what somebody else is doing. Do not get influenced by what returns somebody else are making, because your requirements out of your investments may be very different from somebody else's requirements. Your risk taking ability may be very different from somebody else's. So, there's no one size fits all solution over here. You have to see what works best for you. Work with an advisor, work with a professional, see what works for you, and align your investments accordingly to your requirements.
Vinita, if a young girl was just starting out of college, just starting to work, would you advise her to immediately go to a finance professional for advice? Or would you tell her to wait?
No, there is no question of waiting. I mean, it's a matter of choice depending on how much she's aware herself. If you're not aware yourself, it's best to go to a finance professional. See, there's a lot of information available today, but information is a free commodity, and how we interpret that information is very important. So actually, if early on in your life only you start working with a professional, it sets the way, it sets the path for your future investments, and it works better for everybody. So it is good to, because the financial professional will give you a structure of how you're headed. Then you're not just choosing products. Typically, when people start themselves, they're saying, okay, I've heard this product is doing very well, so I'm going to invest in this. A lot of people at that time have this misconception that SIP is a product. So, because you see so many ads coming on SIPs, so you say, oh, SIP is a product, I'm going to invest in a SIP, not knowing where the SIP is further investing in. So, there is a lot of shallow knowledge, I would say. They don't know much about what is happening. So if there is somebody professional, they'll put a whole structure in place. Explain, okay, this is your earning, how much of savings can you get, what are the goals that you have, what are your short-term goals, what are your long-term goals. So you will have some direction to your investments, and when you move ahead with a certain direction, it obviously does better than while you're doing random or ad hoc investments.
Would you be able to share a few pointers for women in general who want to get into it, or into finance and understanding the finances better?
See, I think the most important thing is that get into it. Getting into it is the most important thing. How you get into it, what you do is secondary. But first of all, for women, they need to get involved. Money is such an integral part of our lives, and it influences the kind of lives we lead. So, most important life choices and decisions that we make, whether it is related to your career, what the kind of job you do, whether you want to retire early and, follow something of your passion, or you want to, do something else, the kind of education you want to have for yourself if you're young, or the kind of education you want to give to your children, the kind of house you want to live in, the standard of life you need to maintain. All these important decisions are influenced by your finances. So if something is so critical to your life, it definitely warrants and it definitely merits our attention. So I think my main message to women would be to please participate in your family's investments, be a part of the discussions, be a part of the decisions. Start by getting involved so you have some awareness. Do not get intimidated by investments. I often hear women say, oh, I'm not a numbers person, or I find this stuff boring. Now, initially it may appear a little boring, or initially it may appear a tad difficult, but I've seen women doing so well, once they get involved and once their confidence grows. So like I said before, do this out of choice when things are going well, and don't wait for any untoward happening or events in your life when you're forced to kind of pay attention to this aspect of life also. And also, our investments need to be aligned to our requirements and circumstances. So please do not follow what somebody else is doing, and don't follow advice also blindly. See what works for you. If you're working, work with a professional. And a professional, when you're working with a professional, he or she will explain to you what you're doing, why you're doing. So you'll have a better understanding of it. And your confidence will also grow and you'll take more informed decisions. And that will help you becoming financially secure.
Is there any mistake you see women making that you would like to caution them about?
Well, like I said, you know, investments are personal. So I often see people following what others are doing,
Yeah, that's a
So
common.
that's a big mistake that people make because, you know, it has to be very personal. So your investments have to work for you. Um, Keep things simple, you know.
Yeah.
Simple is boring for a lot of people, but it also holds you in good stead. And particularly when it comes to investments, just following the basic principles of investments, follow your asset allocation, articulate your goals. What are your short term, medium term, long term goals? Follow your asset allocation, do your risk profile, and just follow that through. And then don't get swayed by the noise in the market. Women actually, when they get involved with their investments, actually they do very well with their investments. And the reason for that is that, because of their lack of confidence in, managing investments, because perhaps they are late starters, they put in a lot of time and effort in understanding what they're doing. They do a lot of homework. They understand why they're doing something, how is it going to impact them. So they're very process driven. So once, when we are planning with investments with women, we get so many more questions than we get when we are, interacting with our male clients. But once they do that, once they get convinced, then they are there for long. So, which is why women do not get swayed too much by the noise in the market. I have rarely seen women investing based on tips that they would have received in cocktail parties and stuff. So they don't do that many ad hoc investments. Their decisions, they're very process driven and they take informed decisions. And this is the reason they do so well with their investments. So just keep things simple. Don't go for exotic products. Just see what will work for you, and yes, work with an advisor, because an advisor will not only guide you through your investments, but if you're with a good advisor, they will also ensure that they keep, they take your knowledge level up so that your confidence and comfort also grows in it. And as an advisor, we've done that with so many women, and it's actually, I mean, investments doing well is one thing, but also when you see the women clients to, becoming good seasoned investors and doing so well with their investments, that itself feels very good, and that itself is very rewarding for us.
I remember you saying that women outperform men, and I think you just explained why. Because of the
Yes,
process driven and there. In
yes.
my personal experience, the only time I have lost money is when I took a tip. Twice I've taken a tip and bought a stock and I've lost.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I've never lost money in my
Yeah, so
investment.
the thing with tips is that people who give the tip to buy are usually not around when the thing has to be sold. And also the tip is very generic in nature. Now, whether that tip, what that means to me, nobody knows. So just picking up something because it is good. But is it good for me? So like, I always say that, investment products are not good or bad. Asset classes are not good or bad. It is what works for you. Some equity may work fantastically for someone who's willing to take a certain risk, who's comfortable with the volatility, who has a longer term time horizon. Then equities will be great asset classes, regardless of whether they're men, women, whatever age they may be. But if you're not that person, if you lose sleep over it, if every time there's a market correction, you're losing sleep and you're looking at your portfolio, then equity is not the right choice for you. And then it's okay if you compromise on a little return, but it's better that you be slightly safer and less volatile asset class. So you have to see what works for you and do that.
Yeah. Vinita, I think that's it. It's been nice, really nice talking to you. Thank you so much for your time.
Pleasure talking to you too, Larissa. And like I said before, I'm so glad that HDFC Mutual Fund has taken this initiative. Like I said, we've seen a huge change in how the investor behavior and how the mindset and approaches of women have changed over the years. But clearly, we have a long way to go. And I think initiatives like this hopefully should help in making a difference somewhere and getting
Yeah.
few more women to start their investment journeys.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for watching. This is Larissa Fernand, and this is part of the Laxmi for Laxmi initiative by HDFC Mutual Fund.
Mutual fund investments are subject to market risks. Read all scheme-related documents carefully.